The year is 2021. I got arrested. Here's that story. But first, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. All right, let's go. So for a little bit of a backstory, I was working with a company and we had two contracts. The first contract being that of Lazy Boy. We were hauling loads from Tennessee over to Mississippi, and we would drop the trailer, they would unload it, and there would be an empty trailer there ready for us. So this was called a drop and hook. It's pretty common in trucking to have a drop and hook situation. From there, we would go to another location to pick up tools heading to a location in Georgia for Home Depot. Now, if you've ever done any sort of big contracts like this with major companies, you know that once you get it to a location, it takes a long time for them to unload the trailers. So once we get down to Georgia, we would drop our loaded trailer, get an empty, and if there wasn't an empty, we had a drop lot down the road that had other empties. So we would pick up the empty trailer and then go and get it loaded for something heading back up to Tennessee, ideally. If not, we would go somewhere else and one of the other drivers would handle the contract for the week. At this time, the company had about 4 drivers, me and 3 others. So we were doing these runs at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. So on this particular day, I had already dropped off the load of Lazy Boy in Mississippi, picked up my empty trailer, and went over to the location to get the run for Home Depot. Now, for some reason, the load that was going to Home Depot wasn't quite ready yet, so I had to go somewhere else and get loaded up with a different product. But it was also going down to Atlanta, Georgia. So in order to get from Mississippi to Atlanta, Georgia, the way I took is going down I-22 just south of Memphis. So I had got loaded up and I was making my way down the road. I had a few hours left. I think I had like 6 hours left to drive for the day. So I was going to be able to make it pretty close, shut down for the night, get up in the morning and get it to the delivery on time. Well, about 45 minutes into my trip, I end up getting pulled over. Dum, dum, dum. So I'm thinking to myself, what could I have possibly done? I'm doing the speed limit. I did my pre-trip this morning. Everything is good on the truck. There might be something wrong. Okay, what's going on? So nevertheless, I pull the truck off to the side of the road. Of course, anytime you get a police officer behind you, you're freaking out. What's going on? Am I going to get a ticket? What's happening? So the officer comes up to my window, knocks on my door. I roll down the window to talk to him, and immediately he says, "Get out of the vehicle right now." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you got it for what? What's going on?" He said, "I'll explain it to you in a minute. Get out of the vehicle right now." So after the officer asked me to get out of the vehicle, I knew something was off right away. I've watched too many police officer shows, too many live PD, too many cops. As soon as you get asked to get out of a vehicle, you're in some deep trouble. All right, you got it. No problem. Let me get out of the vehicle. So I get out of the vehicle and I go to the front of the truck where he directs me to go, and, we're going to have a conversation. So he's asking me, he says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "For the first time ever, no, I don't. Normally I know, hey, I'm going a little quick, or I did this, or I did that. This is a reason why I could have been pulled over." I had no idea. So I asked him, well, why did you pull me over? I don't know. And he said, "This trailer is stolen, right? You got to know that." I had no idea this trailer was stolen. This was one of our trailers that, I had picked up from the drop and hook. It had our name on it. It was our trailer. We were leasing it through Metro Trailer at the time. So it had our name on it. There was no reason for me to assume that it had been stolen. Officers obviously questioned me and, checking it. So immediately I said, "Hey, can I make a phone call? Can I get on the phone with my boss to see what's going on with this? I have no idea why it's being reported stolen." And the officer said, "Yeah, that's fine." I asked him, I said, how did you know it was stolen? He said, "Well, we have a camera up the road on I-22 that registered the license plate, and it sent it into our system and said that it was stolen." I said, "I have no idea. Again, let me get on the phone with my boss, but I literally just picked up this trailer from the drop lot." So I get on the phone with my boss and I'm trying to ask him what's going on. Hey, just to let you know, this is happening. I have no idea why this is happening, but it is. Can you figure out what's going on? Why I'm getting, questioned by these police officers about having a stolen trailer? Obviously, I didn't steal a trailer. So he said, "Yeah, let me look into it. What trailer number do you have?" I tell him the trailer number. He said, "All right, let me call you back." I said, "Okay." So I get off the phone with my boss and I'm talking to the officers again, and they're saying, "What do you have in the trailer?" I said, oh, I just picked up this load. He said, do you have the bill of ladings? I said, yeah, absolutely. They're in my truck. I can get them for you. Or if not, they're right there on the dash so you can access them easily if you want to get in the truck and get them. So while he's going into the truck to get my paperwork and check that out, the local officer came up to me and started talking to me. Real friendly guys all around. Obviously, they got to be firm if, they're dealing with a stolen trailer. So we carried on with our conversation for a minute, and in the middle of the conversation, I get a phone call from my boss. And he says, so that trailer was stolen. I'm like, how? I didn't steal it. He goes, no, it wasn't by you. That was at the Home Depot drop lot, and somebody had hooked up to it and took off with it with the product that we had delivered still in it. They ended up stealing it, and it was indeed stolen. However, it's been returned to us, obviously, and it was supposed to have been taken off of the record that, it was no longer a stolen trailer. So I said, well, obviously not. If I'm getting questioned for having the stolen trailer, it's not off the registry. He said, I understand that. Let me make another phone call, see what I can do. So he calls down to Georgia and tries to figure out what's going on. And Georgia is saying, okay, it is off of our radar, where it's not reported stolen anymore. It's saying that it had been returned. However, it had not yet made it off of the federal registry for stolen vehicles. Hence why I was getting picked up in Mississippi. So he was working behind the scenes to try to get it figured out. Obviously, the officers are doing their due diligence and trying to figure everything out. So they said, well, no matter what you're saying, it's still on our record and we still have to proceed. So I said, okay, I guess we got to do what we got to do. So they ended up cuffing me. Obviously I turned around and put my hands behind my back, and the officers were like looking at me funny saying, do you need to have them behind your back? I was like, no, I'm cooperating. I'm not having an issue. Obviously this is stressful and whatnot, but no, I'm not a danger of any sort. So they said, okay, well, we'll just cuff you in the front and we'll sit you in the patrol car. I said, well, do you mind if I keep my phone so I could try to sort out what's going on here with this situation? They said, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and sit in the back of the car. Now, this was in September when I got pulled over, so it was a little chilly out, and the officer had the heat cranked in the car so high. So luckily, I was able to reach through and press the window down to where I could roll it down just a little bit and get some fresh air in. So understanding that it was a mix-up, obviously I didn't steal the trailer, I found the situation hilarious. Just my luck. I'm the one that's hauling the trailer at this time that happened to get picked up by this camera. I'm the one that's got stuck with this trailer while it's still reported stolen. So I'm laughing because I find it funny that it's just my luck. So while I'm sitting there, I'm laughing. I think it's hilarious. Nobody else around me thinks it's funny just because obviously it's a little bit of a stress-inducing situation. I knew that it was going to get sorted out and I was going to be all right. So boss says he had spoke to the state. He called me back. He said he was trying to get everything sorted out. They said it's off the registry. So I had the officers check the registry again, and they said it's still showing up stolen. I don't know what I can tell you here. Anyway, they said just hang tight. We'll be with you in a little bit. So I'm sitting there in the back seat of the car with my phone, trying to just be patient and wait for the situation to work itself out. So I'm snapping pictures of the inside of the car and, what they're doing outside. And so nevertheless, I'm having a good old time with it and just waiting for stuff to calm down. Well, while I'm sitting there, another police officer rolls up, and this is a canine unit. So the canine unit rolled up and he gets his dog out and they start talking about the situation. Well, they start sniffing around the vehicle. I didn't know prior to this that they had found another semi-truck in almost the exact same scenario that had a bunch of drugs in it. Okay, so this is from the South Reporter, big time drug bust in Benton County, street value of $297,000. Benton County authorities found almost 200 pounds of marijuana in an 18-wheeler. The officer said he received a call from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations that a truck pulling a stolen trailer was headed east on I-22 out of Memphis, Tennessee. The trailer had been stolen out of Cobb County, Georgia in April. They didn't see anything visually until they got the canine officer out there, and the canine hinted that there was something in the trailer. There were 3 or 4 pallets in the front of the trailer that had packing lists with addresses labeled, but there was one in the back that had no packing list or addresses. On that pallet, authorities found 20 cardboard boxes about 2 feet by 4 feet with metal trays. The marijuana was packaged inside the trays. The packages were about 1.2 pounds each and vacuum sealed. Dryer sheets were also used to try to hide the scent of marijuana. So needless to say, there was plenty of reasonable suspicion to go around, given the fact that almost the exact same situation happened a couple of months prior in May. So the trainer of the officer and the dog start working around the truck and, going around, and I'm watching through the side window. Well, this little dog couldn't have been very big. It's a very small dog, and it was pointing at the tires of the truck. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I just picked this up at this location. I have nothing to do with anything that's going on here, and this dog is hinting at this truck. Here's where my panic starts in, because I don't know if there was anything packed inside of the tires while I wasn't around the truck. Obviously, I do a pre-trip inspection, but I don't take the tire off the rim. So this dog is pointing at the tire saying, hey, there's drugs here. There's something here. Check it out. And they walk him around the truck again, and he keeps pointing at the same tires. So they get crawling underneath there. They don't see anything. They're looking, and they don't see anything. And I have a little bit of a sigh of relief. Okay, there's nothing on there. It's all good. So I'm sitting there watching them, trying to figure out what's going on. Are they finding anything? Is there any progress on getting it off the registry to where, I can get back in my truck and head down the road? Well, they start lining up to open up the trailer doors. So I'm freaking out. I know a little bit of my laws and my rights and whatnot, and I know I'm not subject to search and seizure. I didn't realize that if you've already been suspected of a crime, they don't care. They're gonna check your trailer. They're gonna check everything to make sure you're good. If you're suspected of it, then they do suspect a crime to be afoot. And with their previous situation with the bust of all the drugs, they definitely had reasonable suspicion to believe that there was something inside of the trailer. But I'm sticking my phone out the window or by the side of the window, recording the situation just in case it goes any further and there's something in it that I didn't realize was in it, and I can, defend myself in court. So I was doing everything that I could do to make sure I was safe down the line. All right, just to be clear, I did not give them permission to break the seal on that trailer. If they have a warrant, they haven't asked me about it or told me about it. There was a seal on that trailer that they broke off. I didn't realize they were doing it till they had already got it broke. So after they get done searching the vehicle, they come up to the window and start talking to me. And it was the local officer, not the detective and not the one that showed up after with the canine. It was the local officer that was there talking to me, trying to get it sorted out. And I said, well, why was the dog hinting at the tires? He said, oh, that dog's still, kind of training a little bit. He's still a new dog, doesn't really understand quite yet, and he really just likes tires. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm over here freaking out that there's drugs packed inside my tire and this dog is just new. So nevertheless, he starts talking to me and he says, well, if it doesn't get off the registry, we're still going to have to proceed with what we're doing here. I said, well, what does that mean? So he said, well, most likely you'll be taken down to the jail, get processed, get booked until everything gets sorted out. This really sucks, but all right, I guess we're doing this. We're going all the way with this. So nevertheless, I'm still on the phone with my boss. Everything's all right, but I'm fixing to go to jail. So the time comes where nothing has been sorted out by the time they're ready to head to the jail. And we got about a half-hour ride to the jail because it is in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi. And when I tell you this jail, once we got there, it was the size, it was probably smaller than your average Dollar General store. It was a tiny little podunk town jail. And I'm like, okay, this isn't some major crazy jail. This is local guys that, messed up or whatever. It's not going to be a big deal. So nevertheless, while I'm sitting there, they're continuing to allow me to have my cell phone and try to get this sorted out as quickly and effectively as possible. But they're in the process of processing me in, taking my fingerprints, taking my name, my number, all that fun stuff. and putting it into their system. Well, their system isn't updated like a normal system is, where there's computers everywhere. This is a really tiny town in Mississippi. They are doing everything by hand. They are handwriting everything out, which for me is a good thing because it's going to take longer to get the process going, and maybe things are going to get sorted out before I have to go and sit in with a bunch of guys that are supposed to be in jail where I'm not supposed to be there. So nevertheless, the lady is really nice, and there's a fellow in there that's talking to me, and we're getting everything sorted out, and everybody in this whole situation was wonderful. They were really nice. Well, the time had come that nothing was being moved forward. We were kind of at a standstill. I did get a call from my boss saying, hey, they're working on it. They're doing it as fast as they can. Hang tight. So the guy that was in the booking asked me to stand up and let's go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh man, you have got to be kidding me. I know what's coming. I know what's fixing to happen. So he grabs a pair of orange jumpsuit pants and a white t-shirt. Obviously, I'm a big dude, so they got the biggest one they could get, which was a 3XL, and it was snug as a bug in a rug. We go into the bathroom, and he goes, all right, go ahead and get naked. I'm like, oh, jeez, oh, Pete. I'm having to go through this, even though I don't need to. I mean, I've played football and stuff, so I'm not weirded out about being naked. So I end up getting naked, and he goes, okay, I need you to squat and cough. I'm like, oh, no freaking way. He goes, are you serious? I asked him, really? He goes, yeah, squat and cough. So I figured at this point, to hell with it. I'm already in this situation. Might as well, do it upright. So I squat and I cough, and he goes, all right, you're good. Go ahead and stand up and put this jumpsuit on and, your white shirt and come back out. So I get dressed. I put my underwear back on. I put my pants on. I put the shirt on. I come back out and sit down. Right as I sit down, I get a phone call from my boss, and I asked him, hey, I know you guys have been really cool and really nice to me. Is there any way I could take this last phone call? And they said, yeah, that's fine. So I answered the phone call. He said, the officer's on his way over there now to pick you up and take you back to your truck. It's all been sorted out. I'm like, dude, you couldn't call me like 5 minutes ago before I dropped it like it's hot in the bathroom in front of this guy? He starts cracking up, busting a gut, and I'm like, oh my God, well, like why? Why couldn't it have happened like 5 minutes ago? Nevertheless, I ended up getting out of that situation. They shredded the paperwork on it. The officer was really cool. They took me to the tow lot where they had towed the truck. I got into the truck, and about an hour down the road, my fuel gauge was messing up. So I ran out of fuel an hour after that. So it was a crazy, wild day. I can't believe that this is one of the stories that I have. Yeah, I'm still in shock to this day that I was the one that got lucky enough to have that trailer at that time and have to go through that. But at the end of the day, life is all about fun experiences, and trucking is nothing but a fun experience as far as the stories that you can tell, the things that you encounter on the road. And this is one of those stories, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, y'all, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it means a lot to me. All right, bye.